The holiday season had cast a festive glow over the bustling streets of Denver. The lights twinkled in shop windows, the air carried the scent of roasted chestnuts, and the hum of laughter and carols filled the atmosphere. In the middle of this winter wonderland stood Jake Harris, a single father in his early 30s, in the aisle of a discount department store. His shoulders slumped as he stared at a pair of sparkling purple sneakers, the ones his 8-year-old daughter Lily had been dreaming of for months. Jake turned the tag over and winced, $42.50, a sum that felt insurmountable when you were scraping by on a part-time job after being laid off. Maybe next time, Lily, Jake muttered to himself, sighing deeply. He placed the shoes back on the shelf and turned to leave. But just as he did, a warm, familiar voice spoke behind him. "Those are some cool sneakers." Jake froze, his heart skipping a beat. Slowly, he turned to see none other than Keanu Reeves standing casually a few feet away, dressed in a simple wool coat and scarf. His hair was slightly disheveled, and he wore a kind smile that felt almost surreal. Yeah. They're my daughter's favorite," Jake stammered, his voice barely above a whisper. "She's been asking for them for weeks." Keanu's gaze softened as he looked at the shoes. "Why not get them for her?" he asked gently. Jake hesitated, embarrassment creeping over him. "It's just, things are a bit tight right now. Christmas has been hard to pull together this year." Keanu didn't respond immediately. Instead, he reached out, picked up the sneakers, and examined them thoughtfully. Then, turning to Jake, he said, "How about I take care of this?" Jake's eyes widened in disbelief. "Oh no, you don't have to do that. I can't let you." "Please," Keanu interrupted, his voice calm yet firm. "It's Christmas. Let me." Before Jake could protest further, Keanu strode to the register with the sneakers. Jake followed, his heart pounding, unsure whether he was dreaming or not. The cashier rang up the shoes, barely glancing at Keanu as he handed over his card. "I can't thank you enough," Jake said, his voice cracking with emotion. "Lily's going to be so happy." Keanu smiled. "I hope she loves them. And if it's okay, maybe I could meet her." Jake blinked, stunned. You'd really want to do that?" "Of course," Keanu replied. "Lead the way." The walk to Jake's modest apartment felt surreal. Keanu walked beside him, his hands tucked into his coat pockets, chatting as if they were old friends. When they reached the building, Jake hesitated at the door. "It's not much," he said apologetically. "I'm not here for the decor," Keanu assured him, his kind smile never wavering. Inside, the apartment was small but warm. The walls were adorned with Lily's crayon drawings, and the scent of freshly baked cookies lingered in the air. Jake called out softly, "Lily, someone's here to meet you." From around the corner peeked a little girl with curly brown hair and wide, curious eyes. She clutched a stuffed rabbit in one hand and gasped when she saw Keanu. "Is that," she began, her voice trembling. Keanu knelt to her level, holding out the box of sneakers. "Hi, Lily. I heard you've been wanting these." Her eyes sparkled with tears as she took the box, her small hands trembling. "For me." "All yours," Keanu said gently. Without a word, Lily dropped the box and threw her arms around Keanu, hugging him tightly. He hugged her back, his expression softening as if the world had melted away. Later that night, after Keanu had left, Jake sat at the kitchen table with a cup of tea, reflecting on the evening. He had watched Lily dance around the apartment in her new sneakers, her laughter filling the room like music. For the first time in months, the weight of his worries felt lighter. A soft knock on the door startled him. When he opened it, Keanu was standing there again, holding a plain envelope. "Just thought I'd check in," Keanu said, his tone casual. He glanced past Jake to where Lily was still twirling in her sneakers. "She looks happy." Jake smiled. "She's over the moon. I can't thank you enough for what you've done." Keanu handed Jake the envelope. "This is for you. No strings attached." Jake frowned, confused. "What is it?" "Just open it," Keanu said before turning and walking away. Jake opened the envelope and found a stack of bills, neatly folded, and a note that simply read, "Take care of Lily. Merry Christmas. K.R." Jake's knees nearly buckled as he counted the money, enough to cover the overdue bills and then some. He stood in the doorway, watching Keanu disappear into the snowy night, a profound sense of gratitude washing over him. For the first time in a long while, he believed things might just turn around. The snowstorm outside Jake's apartment eased as Christmas morning arrived. Lily woke up to the smell of pancakes and the sight of her sneakers neatly arranged at the foot of her bed. She grinned ear to ear, her joy radiating like the sun on fresh snow. Meanwhile, Jake sat at the kitchen table, clutching the envelope Keanu had left. The money was enough to pay the rent, cover utilities, and even leave a bit extra for groceries and a small Christmas dinner. But beyond the financial relief, it was the gesture that left him shaken. Keanu Reeves, a Hollywood superstar, had stepped into his life with compassion and understanding, leaving Jake inspired to pay it forward. Later that week, Jake made his way to the local soup kitchen, bringing Lily along. He wanted to teach her the value of kindness and gratitude. As they served hot meals to families in need, Jake struck up a conversation with Sarah, a volunteer coordinator. Sarah, in her 50s, had dedicated her life to helping others after losing her husband a decade earlier. She was curious about what brought Jake to the kitchen that day, and Jake shared his story, though he left out the part about Keanu, wanting to focus on the lesson rather than the celebrity. "That's beautiful," Sarah said, her eyes glistening. "It's rare to see someone take their own struggles and turn them into a way to help others." Jake felt a wave of pride. "If someone hadn't helped me when I needed it most, I wouldn't be here. I figure the least I can do is pass that on." Meanwhile, Keanu was back in Los Angeles, enjoying a rare day off. The memory of Jake and Lily lingered in his mind. Keanu had always believed in the power of small gestures to create ripples of kindness, but something about that encounter stayed with him. It made him wonder, how often do we overlook the struggles of those around us? He decided to act. Keanu contacted a friend, Lisa, who ran a nonprofit that supported single parents. He shared Jake's story, omitting names for privacy, and suggested they establish a scholarship fund to help families struggling to make ends meet. Lisa was thrilled. "We'll call it the Lily Fund," she suggested. "Named after the hope that children carry, no matter the hardships." Within weeks, the fund was launched, and applications started pouring in. One by one, stories of resilience and need reached Keanu, reaffirming his belief in humanity's capacity for perseverance. Back in Denver, Jake received a call from Sarah. "You'll never believe this," she said excitedly. "A new scholarship program has been set up for single parents, and they're encouraging people like you to apply." Jake hesitated. "I wouldn't want to take it from someone who needs it more." "Jake," Sarah replied firmly, "if you don't apply, I'll do it for you." Reluctantly, Jake submitted his application. A month later, he received a letter in the mail informing him that he had been selected as one of the recipients. The scholarship wasn't just financial, it included mentorship, job training, and support for Lily's schooling. Jake couldn't contain his joy. That evening, as he tucked Lily into bed, he whispered, "Things are going to get better, kiddo. I promise." Months passed, and Jake's life began to stabilize. With the scholarship support, he secured a full-time job as a carpenter and was even able to start a small savings account for Lily's future. But the most remarkable change wasn't just in Jake's circumstances, it was in his heart. The kindness he had experienced inspired him to continue helping others. On the anniversary of the day he met Keanu, Jake returned to the soup kitchen, not as a volunteer this time, but as a donor. With Lily by his side, he handed Sarah an envelope. "What's this?" Sarah asked, opening it to find a check for $1,000. It's not much, Jake said, but it's a start. I wanted to give back to the place that reminded me what community means. Sarah smiled, her gratitude evident. You're making a bigger difference than you know, Jake. Far away in Los Angeles, Keanu sat at his desk, reviewing updates on the Lily Fund. Stories of lives transformed filled his inbox, parents going back to school, children thriving in better environments, and communities rallying around those in need. As he read, Keanu felt a deep sense of fulfillment. He wasn't just an actor or a celebrity, he was someone who could use his influence to make the world a little brighter. And it had all started with a simple pair of sneakers. Epilogue, a full circle. Years later, Lily, now a young woman, walked across the stage to accept her college diploma. In the audience, Jake stood with tears in his eyes, clapping so hard his hands ached. Beside him sat Sarah, now retired but still deeply invested in the lives she had touched. Lily had grown up hearing the story of the man who changed her family's life. She knew the impact of his kindness and was determined to honor it. With her degree in social work, she planned to dedicate her life to helping children like herself, kids who needed someone to believe in them. And somewhere, in a quiet corner of the world, Keanu Reeves smiled as he read Lily's letter of thanks. It wasn't about the recognition or the gratitude, it was about the ripples. Each act of kindness was a drop in the water, spreading far beyond what anyone could see. And for Keanu, Jake, Lily, and countless others, those ripples had created waves of hope and change that would last for generations.